We now come to question 3 and question 4 of the set of 9 questions. Rashi, in his commentary to Bamidbar 3:6, in clarifying the specifics of the statement that Vesheretu, or Tor, that Bnei Levi would minister to, would be in the service of Aharon, symbolizing the Kahuna, defines that service as assisting Aharon and the Kohanim that followed him in guarding the Mishkan Mikdash against an intrusion from a Zar, an unauthorized individual, a duty, a responsibility that the Kohanim alone could not undertake, and therefore, as Rashi writes, V'halavim halalu mesayamin ato, would assist the Kohanim in this task. Zuhi hasherut, and this is the sherut that is referred to in Bamidbar 3:6. In other words, the function of Shevet Levi was to assist the Kohen in fulfilling certain responsibilities regarding the Mishkan. This information was contained in Bamidbar 3:6. In Bamidbar 3:8, the role of the Levim was amplified further, as the Chumash states, V'shamru et kol kli ohel moed. Shevet Levi had the task of guarding, either from theft or from misuse, all the kelim of the ohel moed, both large and small. The text goes on to inform us that, in addition to guarding the Klei Ohel Moed, the Levim had a task with respect to the nation as a whole. Vet Mishmeret B'nai Yisrael. They had duties, responsibilities, and here Rashi would once again apply the definition of Mishmeret as a responsibility and a duty of the B'nai Yisrael, La'avod, to work, to do, to carry out, et avodat ha-mishkan, the service of the Mishkan. Rashi comments on the statement that the Levim were responsible for the Mishmeret B'nai Yisrael and writes, Shekullan hayu zikukin l'tzarkei ha-mikdash, that technically all of them, everybody, referring to the entire nation, were zikukim, charged with the responsibility of tending to the needs of the Mikdash. Ella, however, Shehalavim Ba'im Tachtehem, Shevet Levi, came instead of them, B'shlichutam, as their representatives. In other words, Shevet Levi functioned in the service of the nation as a whole. What we have here now are two contradictory statements made by Rashi regarding the role of the Levim. In his commentary to Pasuk 6, in connection to the words V'sheretu atam, the Levim function as assistants to the Kohanim, whereas in his commentary to Pasuk 8, at Mishmeret B'nai Yisrael, we find Rashi stating that the Levim were shlichim, representatives of the nation. And this brings us to question number 4. Thus far we have looked at the commentary that Rashi proposes to Pasuk 6 and Pasuk 8. We now look at Pasuk Zayin. In Pasuk 8, Rashi clarifies what the Mishmeret of the Bnei Yisrael was, namely, that there was technically a responsibility upon the entire nation to tend to the needs of the Mikdash. Shevet Levi functioned as their shlichim on their behalf. The problem here lies in the fact that an almost identical phrase is recorded in the previous Pasuk, Pasuk Zayin. Pasuk Zayin states that V'shamru et mishmarto, that the Levim shall take charge of some of his duties, referring specifically to the guarding of the Mishkan against the intrusions of a Zar. And then the Pasuk goes on to state that in addition to mishmarto, the Kohen's duties, the Levim also had a responsibility with respect to the Mishmeret Kol Ha'edah, the duties of the entire congregation. And aside from the problem of repetition of information in the following Pasuk with respect to Rashi, we find that there is no commentary made by Rashi to the statement of Mishmeret Kol Ha'edah. And the reason quite simply is that no commentary was required, in line with one of the Rashi's rules that if it's not broken, don't fix it. Herein lies the problem, that if no commentary was required to the statement in Pasuk Zayin, the Mishmeret Kol Ha'edah, then why is it when an almost identical statement is made in Pasuk Chet that Shevet Levi fulfilled the duties that technically belong to the nation as a whole, the Bnei Yisrael, why is it that here Rashi feels the need to define the Mishmeret of the Bnei Yisrael And conversely, if there was a need to define Mishmeret of the Bnei Yisrael, why was that definition not made the first time such a phrase was used, namely in the previous pasuk?